Oh boy, let's see what's new on TV!
Breaking news! Mr. Directorate hates every logo?
What?
YouTuber Mr. Directorate hates every logo. He hates this logo, that logo, CGI logo, Disney logo, whatever. He hates every logo and I'm sick and tired of this bullshit.
What? That's just not true at all!
Also, there have been reports that Mr. Directorate doesn't have a single ounce of love in his heart. He's always angry and narcissistic and acting like he knows everything. So please, do not support this stupid, toxic influencer because this guy has no brain, he has no education, he is sitting at home doing nothing and not making logo videos. Fuck him.
Alright, that's it, I've heard it. Forget all that fake news. If I can solidify my place in the logo community, then I guess I'm gonna have to verify that I can talk about logos positively. I can criticize all day, but that doesn't mean I hate every single logo. It's time that I prove everyone wrong and stop this blasphemy. Hey everyone, it's MrDIRECTOREIGHT here, and welcome to yet another Top 10 video! Now before we cut to the chase, there is something I would like to address, and no, it's not the elephant in the room. There have been a lot of people out there that are saying I've been reviewing logos perhaps a bit too harshly.
I love it when things are loud! This is the worst logo I have ever seen. Period. What is this pile of cheese I'm looking at? This logo is off the goddamn charts.
Okay, maybe y'all are right about that. But that's not all I do when it comes to ranking logos. Yes, it is easier for me to complain. Yes, it is arguably funnier when I'm pointing out every little nitpick I have about a cheap logo. Considering that I've done this for 4 lists in a row now, however, today I've decided to switch things up a little bit. Let me introduce you to underrated logos. Now this is definitely a broader topic this time around, as anybody could have a very subjective list of what they deem as underrated. So let me explain how this particular list is going to work. Logos on this list will be ranked based on the following. 1. Logos that are normally talked about negatively or just aren't mentioned in general. 2. Logos that might be somewhat unknown to many people. And 3. Logos that I personally like that I feel just aren't talked about as much as they should be. Hopefully that should clear things up for y'all. And remember, this is just my opinion at the end of the day. I'm not trying to pass this off as the definitive underrated logos list. It is completely fine if you don't agree with me on some of these picks. Anyway, enough rambling, no more wasting time. Let's jump right into this list, shall we? Starting off this list, we have the CTW Snake from 1978. The reason for the given nickname is because of the animation. The way the blocky letters in orange expand and stretch while forming could be compared to the slithering motions of a snake. And no, I won't put visuals of that on screen for the sake of those who have a fear of snakes. So instead, here's a recreation of that exact thing from yours truly. This logo is rather notorious for a couple various reasons. The overall animation of the logo is a bit ominous, taking place on a dark background with choppy cell animation and being paired with cheap synthesized music that is a bit uncanny. I wouldn't be surprised if this scared some younger viewers back in the day. However, I am here to defend this logo. I feel like this logo receives way too much slack from the logo community. I think the animation is impressive for its time, even if it is low budget. The color scheme is a bit outdated, but it was completely normal for a logo from this era to have a design like this. I also find myself humming the music from this logo every now and then, despite it being so simplistic. This is far from a bad logo. I mean, it's probably not the most kid-friendly logo to have in front of a program like Sesame Street or the Electric Company, but I still feel like it gets a bad rep because it's a logo from the 70s that comes off as a little creepy. Hell, if I liked the 1983 logo as a kid, chances are I'd probably like this logo if I saw it growing up as well. This logo absolutely gets way too much hate. I really don't understand it. The first thing people do with this logo is immediately compare it to their previous logo from 1982, aka the paperclip. And while the swoosh is inferior to that one in almost every way, I find it wild that people even rank the 1994 and 2001 logos over this one. I feel like this has to be one of United Artists' most prominent logos, considering the films this logo appeared on. Child's Play, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Roadhouse, even Rocky V. They released some of their most successful films during that time, no matter how good or bad they were. As for the logo itself, the CGI is fairly nice for the time. I mean, the animation is a little basic. The videotaped version from the Rhythm and Hughes show reel makes it pretty obvious, so the fact that most of its appearances were filmed definitely helps it out a bit. The music isn't really anything to write home about. It's just a couple synth pads with a swoosh sound when the light streak flashes by the logo, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Although the animation I feel is an improvement from the paperclip logo, as a whole, it clearly doesn't have the same impact that their previous logo had. Not nearly as iconic as the 1982 logo, but I feel like this logo receives a lot of undeserved criticism. I think it's safe to say that you probably haven't seen this logo already unless you've either bought video discs from RCA back in the day, or you're just as heavily invested in logos as I am. This was a rather short-lived logo, only being used for about a year before it was replaced with another logo, and its rarity certainly doesn't help. Again, this logo only appeared on a very elusive format, that being CEDs, that were released by RCA under their Select Division label, so most people, including me, have only known about this logo for YouTube. However, just like the last two logos, this one has also been criticized by some logo enthusiasts. A few have even considered this a scary logo because of the combination of the slightly unsettling music and the logo taking place on a black background. The environment of this logo kind of gives off the vibe of a night circus, mainly because of the words at the end of the logo having a rainbow trail below them. I don't think the animation is bad for the time. The second half with the word sliding in is a little cheap, but the start of the logo with the blue ring and the stars forming around it is really impressive, especially for 1981. The music is a little quirky, and I don't really like how the last 4 notes are just shoddily edited to sync up with the word sliding in, but besides that, I do feel like it gives this logo the charm it has. I weirdly appreciate this logo for what it is. Now let's move on to number 7. What an advanced logo for 1982. For those that don't know, Central Independent Television was a network that was owned by British media company ITV. I've actually talked about this channel before, with one of their older logos as Associated Television, or ATV, appearing in my top 10 scary logos video, where I infamously said that this was a channel based in Australia instead of the United Kingdom. Anyway, similar to the previous entry, this logo was also short-lived, only lasting for over a year and replaced with another logo they were using in tandem. My question is, why did they stop using this logo so quickly? I mean, everything about this logo was ahead of its time. The animation is incredible considering the year this logo debuted in. The solar eclipse, the colors bursting out, the shadow moving, everything about the animation here is stellar. And this fanfare is catchy as all hell. I understand why they kept using this music for 6 more years afterwards. It just sounds so polished and well put together. You'd think they invented the damn keyboard while composing this logo. Just a wonderful combination of great early CGI and synthesized arrangements. It really shocks me that this logo isn't talked about enough, but again, it could be boiled down to how little it was, as well as people outside the UK just not really knowing about its existence. It's a real shame because I feel like this logo could have had quite the longevity, even going into the early 90s. But I'm just a stupid American talking about a British logo. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, come on, we all knew this logo was going to be on here. The 1991 BBC video logo easily has to be one of the most infamous in the logo community. This has been featured on many top 10 lists and compilations of scary logos. While the animation has been bashed on by some for being too simplistic, the biggest factor for this logo having a sour image would be the music. The piano piece comes off as really depressing, ending with a haunting choir note. You'd think the BBC would have went with something a little more upbeat, but I guess they went with this because they wanted something that felt a little more dramatic as a way to catch the viewer's attention. Well, I guess it worked, just not in the way they were hoping it would. The logo taking place on a black background also unintentionally gives off a darker nature when paired up with the music. As for the animation, it's basic, but it's also pretty decent for the time. This will definitely give some people the chills, and it's probably scared some younger viewers back then. In my opinion, I don't necessarily think this is a scary logo, however. Even though it has its eerie qualities, the music at least sounds natural despite coming from a synthesizer, and the animation isn't that bad for 1991. If their intentions were to have a logo that felt cinematic, I appreciate the attempt, but it certainly could have been executed better. But then again, I'm just a dumb American talking about a British logo. What the hell do I know? Well, what do you know? We're already at the halfway point. That was quick. But you know, that means another commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for them. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know if I love or hate these advertisers, considering I still have them around. Anyway, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned. This program is brought to you in part by these manufacturers. The mirror makers are back at it again with their newest invention. Introducing the spray mirror. Say goodbye to heavy hunks of reflective glass on wood. Just press the button on the bottle and take a look. It works just like a normal mirror. The spray mirror's mist becomes reflective from a secret formula using our special liquids and top-of-the-line technology. And as an added bonus, the spray is also scented. Just listen to what our customers have to say. Wait a minute. You're supposed to spray this next to your face and it's scented? That's literally a choking hazard right there. Also, this isn't even a mirror. This is just Glade! Order now! Coffee bombs! Need a little kick to spice up your day? Drop a couple of these bad boys into a big ass mug. Hot and ready coffee prepared in just a few seconds. Perfect to drink at home, at work, or even on the go. Coffee bombs! Start your day off with a bang! Order now! Do you have a sink faucet or any other typical house device that is acting up and making your life miserable? Hi, I'm Bill Shit, and what you need is some Rex tape. This stuff is tough, durable, built to last, flexible, Rexable. This tape works so well, it can fix virtually everything. Just watch us fix this jacked up sink faucet with a singular layer of Rex tape. Works like a charm. Get her done, dude. Rex tape. This stuff just sticks. Order now. We now return to your program. Seriously? The spray mirror? How many times are these scam artists going to keep making these fake mirror products? Also, literal coffee bombs? What kind of moron would want to put some little balls of coffee into their drink just for it to explode? That's so stupid. Oh, wait, we're back? Promoters, you didn't hear anything. Anyway, welcome back to MrDIRECTOREIGHT's Top 10 Underrated Logos. Just like usual, we'll take a look at the next 4 logos on our list, plus some honorable mentions, followed by the Lightspeed recap, and of course, ending off with what is, in my opinion, the most underrated logo of all time. Let's get right back to the countdown. Out of Universal Studios' expansive history with TV logos, this one's definitely an oddity. While most of the television logos from Universal after the Revue era have prominently featured the iconic globe, the 1994 MTE logo doesn't put as much of an emphasis on it, giving it the nickname the Phantom Globe. This logo has quite a mysterious nature, not having the company name in front of the globe, the music being an ambient synth piece based on the 1991 Universal Television fanfare, as well as its short lifespan, only being used for 2 years before MCA, Universal's parent company at the time, was renamed to Universal Studios. They definitely wanted to give MTE its own identity rather than give it another logo that's similar to the ones its related divisions were using at the time. And while I do like MTE's previous 2 logos, the 1989 logo with its impressive CGI, and the 1990 logo with its jazzy saxophone music, this one feels more unique. The animation is still pretty decent for the time, and I like the vibrant colors this logo has. The music is also very soothing. In fact, I like it so much that I sampled it in one of my songs a few years ago. Shameless plug, check it out if you haven't already. I do feel like this logo goes under the radar for a lot of people. It's not nearly as popular or well known as some of Universal's other TV logos, and some other people in the logo community just prefer MTE's predecessors over this one. It might stick out like a sore thumb, but this is personally one of my favorite logos just for how different it is from the rest of Universal's TV logos, giving it a worthy spot in the top 5.
This is PBS.
I don't care what any of y'all say, this is easily one of PBS's best logos in my opinion. Considering I did a whole video roasting PBS logos from the 70s and 80s last time, I only felt like it was right to include a PBS logo that I actually like on here. Sure, this logo might have not had as much of an impact as most of their other logos, but I feel like nobody ever talks about this one. The New Age fanfare is phenomenal. The keyboards, guitars, and flutes just sound great when paired together. It sounds really calm and just has a nice composition. The CGI animation feels polished. It looks really good for the time with a cozy selection of colors as well, despite taking place on a dark background. It sucks this was only used for 3 years. This definitely could have been used for a few more years going into the early 2000s. To me, this logo describes PBS as a channel better than somebody holding up a cutout of the P-head over their face with acrobatics flying around in the background. Look, I know the 1998 logo has its fans and it started the trend of PBS cycling for different variants of their logos, but realistically speaking, what does any of this have to do with PBS? Take away all the things referring PBS and you basically have a fever dream. This isn't the type of logo that would immediately make me go, oh yeah, that's PBS. No, this is PBS, just like Lauren Bacall says at the end of the logo. The inclusion of objects like globes and telescopes perfectly represent the historic and scientific nature of PBS's programming, which makes up most of their offering, mainly having documentaries and educational shows on their network. The overall atmosphere just fits the bill. It does the job. And for most people, that might be the reason why this logo isn't as fully looked back on fondly as many of PBS's other logos are. But I certainly feel like this is quite an underrated logo, and it should be given its flowers that it deserves. Definitely a solid logo from PBS for sure. Now let's move on up to the top 3. You may call this a cheesy logo, I call it one of the most badass logos from the 1980s. Genesis Entertainment, I mean, just the name alone sounds cool. I like this logo so much, I put both versions on here. This logo has some groundbreaking CGI, it still looks fairly good today. I also like the shade of blue the background uses, it weirdly gives off an Echo the Dolphin aura for me, even though the logo takes place in outer space and not under the sea. The original 1989 music does sound a little on the nose and cliche, but it also has a little charm to it, as well as some crazy bass. However, some people have also found this version to be a little creepy, being the reason it's sometimes referred to as a scary logo, but I digress. The 1991 theme, on the other hand, was really ahead of its time. It sounds futuristic and otherworldly and perfectly fits the vibe of the logo. I gotta give props to the composers that worked on both versions. They sound really polished and nice on the ears. Also, fun fact, the composer of the 1989 theme was an employee of Genesis Entertainment at the time. You learn something new every day. This logo might have appeared on shows like Tales from the Crypt and the 1994 Iron Man cartoon, but I still feel like this logo doesn't get enough recognition. This has to be one of my favorite logos without question, considering the fact that I've used both themes for custom logos of fake companies over the years. All around, this logo is out of this world, and has some wonderful CGI with 2 awesome synth pieces to go with it. And the company also shares the same name as what is arguably Sega's best video game console, so it's no surprise that I hold this logo in such high regard. This logo has that 80s flair that just works really well. This is one of those logos that just make you want to say, the music is pure synthesizer heaven. It's catchy, pleasing to the ear, and is perfectly in sync with the animation, which is a major plus. Speaking of the animation, it looks absolutely stunning for the time. The words flashing at the end of the logo might feel a little dated, but the rainbow trail of the TPS letters and the blue light burst when the 2 trails collide both look really stellar for the time. This logo was also used for 9 years and is their longest used logo, a long lifespan that is completely deserved. Don't get me wrong, their next 2 logos logos from 1992 and 1994 are both good efforts too, but this logo I definitely feel is more eye-catching and ear-grabbing. This is for certain one of my favorite logos of all time. I love this logo so much, even to the point where I made a near replica of it with a custom logo I made for a fake company I called Sega Television Services. And yes, I do mean the same Sega I just mentioned in the previous entry. This is an excellent logo from the era, combining slit scan and backlit animated eye candy with a wonderful synth arrangement to match up with it. Just based on my review, you'd think this was the #1 entry we were talking about, but we still have one more. Time to reveal what is, in my opinion, the best logo, the most underrated logo of all time, right after we take a look at some honorable mentions. And now here's a quick recap of what you just watched. Number 10, what kind of snake looks like that? Number 9, the swoosh, but not the Nike one. Number 8, welcome to the amazing night circus. Number 7, a solar eclipse worth sacrificing your eyes for. Number 6, every British child's fear in the 1990s. Number 5, Ghost of the Globe. Number 4,
This is not TVN!
Number 3, this is what THX sounds like on Mars. And number 2, Taste the Rainbow. And the honorable mentions were number 1.
You referenced that logo?
Number 2, It's a New World Overseas. Number 3, America should have gotten its own version of this logo. Number 4, oh, we're making it to Saturn with this one. And number 5. The fact that this was only used for 6 years should be a crime. The 1976 Columbia Pictures logo might not be one of the best film logos of all time. The 1993 logo still holds a special place in my heart. But this is an excellent logo from the mid-70s that was retired way too quickly. Despite this kind of being the dark horse of Columbia's logo history, focusing more on the sunburst or the light of the torch rather than the iconic torch lady like the rest of their logos do, this logo definitely feels high quality for its era, considering what most of the other big studios were using at the time. And I'm not saying that those logos were bad, far from it, but they definitely look more simplistic in terms of their animation and designs compared to this one. The animation, especially during the sunburst portion, is top-notch and perfectly executed. The music starts off a little suspenseful, but then it builds up to a lovely bombastic fanfare that matches flawlessly with the visuals. This is a fantastic logo that'll certainly get you in the mood to watch a movie. Unfortunately, this logo didn't have quite the longevity of most of Columbia's other logos. I honestly think this logo could have survived going into the late 80s, but that's just me. Now, you could argue that this logo wasn't as popular with moviegoers because of the torch lady not being as prominent in this logo compared to other logos, although most people say otherwise. However, I have a theory that Columbia themselves weren't really the biggest fans of this logo, and that they didn't think it represented them as a company properly, which is what led them to change their logo in 1981. I believe they wanted to revert their image back to the most recognizable symbol of their logos, the torch lady, which is understandable. understandable. And with the Coca-Cola company acquiring Columbia the next year, I think it was pretty clear Coca-Cola wanted them to keep the newer logo. What they ended up replacing this logo with, however, was a more basic and cheaper looking logo that felt more dated than the 1976 logo in my opinion. The company name looks ugly and tacky and blends in with the background. The sunburst inclusion in the early version is rather odd considering they were trying to put more emphasis on the torch lady and phase out that particular branding the previous logo had, and the overall result just doesn't have as much of an impact, especially due to the lack of any music. If they had used the same fanfare from the 1976 logo, I probably wouldn't have minded the 1981 logo as much, but because it's completely void of that, this just makes me wonder why they stopped using the previous logo even more. I mean, their television division was still using this theme for crying out loud. Anyway, my point is, since this logo only lasted for 6 years, its existence isn't acknowledged as much as it should, and it's not often brought up in conversations of great movie logos, which is a real shame. If this logo had lasted for at least 9 years, then I feel like it would have been looked back on more fondly. Ultimately, this is why I believe the 1976 Columbia Pictures logo is the most underrated logo of all time, purely based off of its lifespan and how long it could have been used for, as well as maybe company management just not seeing the vision this logo had and decided to change course. Case closed. Another top 10 list for the books. As always, thank you all so much for watching this video. It was nice to work on a list that ended off on a more positive note and was less cold-hearted than my previous lists. I actually had a lot of entries that could have made the list, but they all had to get cut off unfortunately. I don't usually do this with my top 10 videos, but if y'all would like to see a part 2 of this, leave a comment and I might end up doing it, you never know. Also, let me know what logos you think are underrated. That'll definitely help me out if I do decide to make a second part in the future. But I already have another top 10 video currently in the works, so the next one will be a different topic, and I'm really excited to make that one. It's going to be really interesting. By the way, I am so sorry for the 2+ year wait for this video. This was not supposed to become the norm for these particular videos to take this long. I started writing the script for this video in 2024, and that was just such an awful year for me. And with the channel's 15th anniversary reaching closer, as I still didn't have a video prepared, I kind of had to pull myself together, get back into the swing of things, and finish this one up to get it in time for the milestone just for y'all. I'm definitely going to try to get the next top 10 out quicker than these last two. And just a couple more things I want to get out the way before ending the video. Shout out to Mega Shadow for helping me out with the opening skit of the video, who I also just released a new single with titled I Love Logos a couple days ago. If you haven't heard it yet, you can check it out on both of our channels and also on Mega Shadow's AJ Smith SoundCloud. There will be a snippet at the end of the video. One final thing, I promise this is the last thing I'll promote. I also now have a new Instagram account for the main channel. Over there, I'll be posting behind-the-scenes content such as the making of videos and other random things such as the history of MrDIRECTOREIGHT profile pics, as well as previously unreleased videos that never made it to the main channel, and re-uploads of content from all of my channels that have since been unlisted, privated, or straight up removed from YouTube. If all of that sounds interesting to you, go follow my new Instagram. The handle is simply @MrDIRECTOREIGHT in all lowercase. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when I upload new videos. And this is MrDIRECTOREIGHT signing off. Good night, everybody.
Some are good, some go worse, some in the halls of fame. Baby, I love logos, 'cause they're great.
I was 6 years old, been fascinated by logos ever since. I was having dreams about the Via Doom causing